Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Lindsay Humphreys, and I'm the Program Director for Junior Achievement of New Mexico. Today, you will be attending our virtual career speaker series. This program is open to JA students across New Mexico and highlights business professionals, entrepreneurs, and innovative thinkers from a variety of industries. Each featured speaker will share details about their education, their job, and their career journey. Before we get started, we'll just go through a couple of virtual meeting etiquette reminders. So as I said, this video is recorded and it will be posted on our YouTube channel. If just in case you know anybody who was unable to attend today, feel free to send them that link after the session. And at this time, if you could all type your first and last name into the chat box, it's where the dialog box is in the right-hand corner. And then if you are an educator with students behind you or a parent with students behind you, please just let us know how many students are on the call with you. That way we can know that for our records. During the speaker's presentation, please make sure all of your mics are muted. And if you have questions during the presentation, please just write them down into the chat box, or you can jot them down and you can ask them live during the Q&A portion of the event. So today we are so excited to welcome Tom Briones. He is an attorney and counselor at law for Briones Business Law Consulting. So Tom, I'll jump over and share my screen and the floor is yours.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Well, hello everybody, my name is Tom Briones and I'm a lawyer here in Albuquerque. Specifically, I am a business lawyer. My law firm is dedicated to working with solely with locally owned business owners. That's on the last slide, just so you know.
Oops.
So you're going to get a preview of the entire show here. So yes, I'm a business lawyer here in Albuquerque. I have my own firm. It's called Briones Business Law Consulting, PC. And we have 4 attorneys here and a couple of other employees that help us work. And we work with such companies as Dion's Pizza, Bueno Foods, El Mesquite Grocery Store, and some other companies that you may have heard of here locally. And our specialty is we act as outside general counsel for clients. So if you'll go to the next slide, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married. My wife's there on the right in the white coat. She's a doctor at UNM. She's an anesthesiologist doing her residency there. And of course, that's me on the right. And that's my wife with her parents on the day that she was admitted to be a doctor. Next slide. So a little bit about myself. So as I say, it's mostly uninteresting, but it's all true. I was born and raised in Farmington, New Mexico. I went to UNM undergraduate and law school. I did get accepted into several other law schools, but UNM was where I wanted to go, in part because of the next point is my father and brother are lawyers. Both of them are lawyers up in Farmington. In fact, my dad is 87 years old and still works full-time as a lawyer. And my brother is also a part-time federal judge, a U.S. magistrate up in Farmington. My wife and I have been married 19 years, and we decided not to have any children. All we have is a little dog that loves my wife way more than she loves me. And I've been practicing law since 1993. I started this particular law firm in 2011. Before that, I had worked in Farmington with my dad and brother for about 4 years, and then came to Albuquerque and had my own practice, merged it, left that practice to start this practice. Okay, next slide. So our specialty, so those are some pictures of my law firm, some of the people that work in my firm. On the left was we went and had a few drinks and dinner as a group, and on the right we did a fun run for a client that was doing a fundraiser for a nonprofit. So I signed up the firm and we all went over there. They all ran, I mostly walked, but that was a fun day. But what we do is we act as a business's virtual in-house counsel. We act as if we're their general counsel in their business and help them with all of their legal business needs. Next. So this is a picture of me and one of my associates, Chris Jaramillo. Bueno Foods is one of our clients, and we went out there and toured their factory one day. And so this is a picture. So probably not the best looking picture of either one of us, but still it was a fun day. So talk to you a little bit about what I do as a lawyer, like the kind of things that I deal with. I advise business owners on all of their legal needs. Sometimes we do some lawsuits. We'll litigate such things as breaches of contract. When if my client has a contract with another company and the other side doesn't fulfill its obligations, sometimes you may have to sue, or sometimes your client gets sued and needs a lawyer to defend them. We help them with that. Occasionally, we help them with some employee matters. I see Danny Jarrett is on here. He's an employment lawyer. Whenever we come across something that is too complicated to us, we work with Danny's law firm, and he helps our clients out with all the hard questions. We handle the easy ones. He handles the hard ones. We help them with their business structure and planning for their business. A lot of our clients have issues with the government, like regulatory issues, like dealing with taxes or regulations, or like they may buy a building where they want, or some property where they want to build a building, but it's not zoned the way they need it to be zoned. We will work with the client to try to change the zoning so that our client can build the building that they need, things like that. We deal with taxes, helping our client with their tax issues. We review their contracts, create their contracts, negotiate contracts. We help them buy and sell businesses. Sometimes our clients are growing and they buy somebody else's business. Other times they want to sell their business and retire. So we help them do that. And then we answer just a lot of general legal questions that our clients have. So those are some of the things that I do as a lawyer every day. This is us during COVID. Most of my staff is working from home. We have to rotate in, even though we're an essential business and we get to stay open. This is us having a meeting in the morning, and we're just kind of going over the day and talking about things. We're a pretty young law firm. I'm not. I'm pretty old, but everybody else in my office is in their 20s and early 30s. So what do I do every day? What does my day look like as a lawyer? Well, I attend a lot of meetings. Right now, it's mostly by phone or by video like we're doing here. But my day is peppered with a lot of meetings with clients, with other attorneys, bankers, CPAs. I'm also on the phone a lot every day, doing the same stuff, talking to lawyers or dealing with matters. I review documents, so there's a lot of reading in my job, and writing. I write emails. I'm answering emails quite often. The most fun part I have is I get to advise clients, and that's what happens in the meetings and in the phone calls, is I talk to them about their legal needs, their questions. I really, really like being a business lawyer, because the most fun thing about my practice is I'm dealing with people who own their companies, and nobody is more excited about the day than a business owner. They love their businesses. They're excited about their businesses. They oftentimes come to me because they have a plan. I want to do this. I want to build this new kind of store over here, but they don't know how to do that. They know how to do their business. We help them see their vision come true by getting rid of all their legal impediments, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of cool driving down the street and you'll see a project that's being built, and you know the story behind it because you were part of the deal to make that happen. My clients are hiring people. Some of them, my clients may actually employ your parents. Some of your parents might work for some of my clients. And they love what they do. They love their customers. They love their employees. They love their community. They love to give back to the community. And so I get to be part of that. And that's really exciting. It's a lot of fun every day to show up at my job. It's a lot of fun. I interact with a lot of other professionals, other attorneys, a lot of bankers, a lot of CPAs, realtors, things like that, because that's who my client is needing to help them with their businesses, and I'm often the connection between the professionals and my clients. And I'm also on a lot of nonprofit boards, including the Junior Achievement Board. And so there's also several meetings that happen with that and the preparation work that goes into being on a board as well. So there are a lot of different kinds of areas of practice of law. Being a lawyer doesn't necessarily mean that you do one thing. There are some general practitioner lawyers. In fact, there's quite a few of them. When I practiced law in Farmington, we were a general practice. And there's a lot of specialties within the practice of law. I'm sure some of you are familiar with some of these kinds of lawyers from what you've seen on TV. There's criminal defense lawyers, there's prosecutors, there's divorce attorneys, personal injury attorneys. You may have seen those billboards of like Ron Bell or something. Real estate attorneys, bankruptcy. There are attorneys who deal with tax, securities, which is like big corporations, banking, doing nonprofit work, oil and gas, which is a big deal here in New Mexico. In-house counsel. A lot of big companies have their own lawyers as employed by their company. Like McDonald's Corporation is going to have a whole bunch of lawyers that are in-house. And there's other options as well. Some lawyers go on to become judges. Some become owners of businesses. I have some friends that have gone on to be presidents of companies. Law enforcement, believe it or not, the FBI hires a lot of lawyers to become FBI agents. And government agencies hire a lot of their own attorneys to help kind of make sure that they do things right and legally. So when it comes to becoming a lawyer, there is, wow, there are so many different areas that you can practice. And what's really nice about the practice of law is you can switch gears. Like my wife, who's a doctor, they spend so much time becoming a doctor in one specialty that if you want to change, it's not as easy to just pick up and be a different kind of doctor. In the practice of law, your law degree is so versatile that you can really switch gears. So I was lucky enough to go from a general practice. Went to a law firm, in fact, where I met Mr. Jarrett, and did some insurance defense for a few years, went back to a general practice, and now I'm able to do what I love, which is just business law and working with local business owners. So that's one of the really great things about the practice of law is the versatility that the degree has that most degrees don't have. Next. So for those of you who are interested in potentially going to law school, what does it take? What's the pathway to become a lawyer? Well, first of all, you have to graduate high school and go to college, and you have to have a bachelor's degree. And after you get a bachelor's degree, you have to take a test, which is called the Law School Aptitude Test, or LSAT. And the combination of your degree and your LSAT, you apply to law school, and if you get in, you spend 3 years in law school. If you want to specialize, it's called an LLM, which is an advanced degree in law. That's another year or two. After you become a lawyer, after you finish your law degree, if you want to practice as a lawyer, every state requires that you take a bar exam to become a lawyer in that state. And if you pass the bar exam, then you are a lawyer. So it's it's not a quick and easy process. You have to, plan it out, make sure this is what you want to do, or at least that's what I did. And, those are the steps that you have to take. Sometimes people ask me, what kind of degree do you need as a bachelor degree to become a lawyer? Any kind of bachelor's degree will work. My degree is in English. I have an English degree with a minor, with an associate's degree in communications. I believe Danny Jarrett, who you can see him on the video, I think he has a biology degree, is what he has, an undergraduate degree before he went to law school. My brother Paul, who's a lawyer, he has an economics degree. My father has a business degree. So you can have whatever degree you want to become a lawyer. You come across a lot of people who have political science degrees. I'm not sure why, but so I see a lot of poli-sci people who have who go to law school. People who have specialty degrees tend to find jobs very quickly and do very well. I had a classmate of mine who had a degree. He was an engineer, mechanical, and I think it was a mechanical engineer, but he became a construction lawyer. And we had another client or classmate that was a geologist, and she got a degree in the oil and gas industry right out of law school. So you don't need any one particular degree, but to stand out, a more technical degree is always helpful, I think. I wish I had had a business degree. I wish I had had a business degree. Now that I'm in this practice of law, I wish I had had that kind of degree before I went to law school. But that does speak to the versatility of the practice of law. So one of the things to get into law school, so not only do you need a bachelor's degree and the LSAT score, but you have to file an application. And schools are looking for like diversity. They're looking for people with a varied background. They love to see students who are active in the community and in the school. So people who are, give back to the community and do things like with nonprofits, volunteer work, a lot of volunteer work. They like to see that. And they like, you have to get good grades. That's very helpful. The better the grades and the better the LSAT score, the easier it is, or the more likely it is that you'll get into law school. It's very competitive to get into law school. I went to law school I started in 1990, and there were something like a couple of hundred students per position that was in the law school at the UNM Law School. So it's very competitive, but if you stick to it and have the bachelor's, good grades and a good LSAT score, there's a good chance you can get in somewhere. Next. So unfortunately, you can't see this very well, but let me see if I can't tell you what this says. So this is the pros and cons of becoming a lawyer. What are they? Well, some of the pros are, some lawyers can make very good money. You may not be rich, but you can have a comfortable lifestyle. I have a nice home. I have an old pickup truck that I drive, but that's by personal choice. I could have a newer vehicle if I wanted to. I can travel. I've been able to travel the world on vacation, go to Europe, Mexico, Hawaii, wherever, in part because my job pays well enough to support my life. It's a highly reputable profession, especially as a business lawyer. There's a lot of open doors that open to me. You get to learn, you get to meet community leaders. I know the the mayor of Albuquerque. I know the governor. I know most of the representatives and senators for the state, because of the connections from my job. Being a lawyer never gets boring, at least not to me. Every day is something new. There's a new challenge. They need us. People need us because life and people are messy. And as long as people are messy and we have laws and rules, lawyers are needed to help clients get through those issues. You learn a lot already. I'll pass that one. Yeah, again, I talked about there's many different career options available to you. You get to work indoors. So on a cold day like this, that's kind of nice. You get to sit in a nice, comfortable place to do your work. Of course, on really nice days in the summer, I'm wishing I had a job outside, but today's like this, it's nice to have an indoor job. You get to help people. That's probably the biggest thing. You get to help people who, at least I do, that are trying to make a difference in the community, and I help them achieve their goals. And that is really fulfilling work. I enjoy it, and people pay me to do it, so that's great. We have the ability to do things that most people can't do. We can go into court and represent somebody, speak for them on their behalf, and try to help them with their rights and their legal issues. You can't do that unless you have a law degree. You can't represent a corporation can't go in and represent themselves in court. Only a lawyer can do that. So it's really nice. The cons are, it can be long hours. You work a lot, so you better really enjoy what you do. Unfortunately, there are a lot of unhappy lawyers, and I think that's because they went into the practice of law for the wrong reason, or they're in a situation that they don't like for the wrong reason, which is usually related to money. My advice is, if you're going to practice law, and I guess maybe anything, but certainly in the practice of law, find something that is genuinely interesting to you. Find an area that means something to you, because you're going to be spending a lot of time doing it. So you should really enjoy what you're doing, and find it interesting, because there's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of long hours, and if you don't like what you do, then you're wasting your life. So really find something that you really enjoy and are really good at. I think that if you are truly passionate about what you do, the money will follow. If you are the best at what you do, no matter what the career field, people will pay you for it, just to even learn how you do it. So truly find something that means something to you. Lawyers, it takes a lot of time to become a lawyer. That's another con. You have to have a bachelor's degree, which usually takes 4 years, and a law school degree is 3 years. If you're going to get an LLM, that's another year or two, and you have to pay for school. So that can be very expensive, and I know a lot of lawyers who come out of law school who with a lot of debt. And so that makes it sometimes difficult when you're trying to start your life as a lawyer, is having to deal with all that debt. So that's one of the problems with becoming a lawyer. Another problem is there's a lot of stress with this job. You've got clients who are paying you a lot of money, who have high expectations. You have a lot of deadlines. You have a lot, especially if you're in litigation, you're dealing with a lot of people who are difficult, I guess is the word to use. And when you're dealing with difficult people, it's just stressful. It can really wear on you. And it's got to be something that you need to have the ability to recharge your batteries. You need to have a way to keep your health up, your energy up, exercise, diet, to be able, a lot of laughter. I think that's something that's important for me, is to be able to just do what you can to enjoy your time, because there is a lot of stress. And so those are some of the things to consider if you think you might want to become a lawyer. So next slide. I was asked as part of this to kind of come up with some lessons I've learned and keys to my success. And so these are some of the things that I think of actually quite frequently. Habits. I've got a quote there from Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. If you get your habits correct, it'll make all the difference in your life. Let me give you an example. If you get in the habit of getting up every morning and working out, you will stay in shape. If you read every day in an area that is interesting to you, if you, like as a lawyer, I read all the time about, business law subjects, and that helps me improve as a lawyer. So make sure you think about what habits you have. Watching TV at night and just snacking on food is a horrible habit, but it's a habit. You get into the habit of doing that. So what's really nice is that if you really think about the habits in your life and you plan for them and really work at them, they become like a remote control. They just happen. And so if you just get used to waking up early and working out, then your body it'll become a habit. And every morning you'll just wake up and you're ready to go work out. So having good habits has made a big difference for me. Hard work pays off. There's just no substitute. I know there's a lot of things on TV or in the movies about people who become rich and famous and it seems to be effortless. Maybe there are some people like that in the world, but that's 99% of us aren't that lucky. There's just no substitute to showing up every day with a good attitude and working hard. That will over time pay off, in my opinion. Decisions have an impact. Your decisions, let me give you an example. When I was in college, I would have a lot of fun with my friends. We'd go out and do things at night. But a lot of my friends stayed in the dorm room and hung out. I went to the library and studied every night from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. every night, Monday through Friday, and on the weekends I would study at the library. And then I would go out and have fun with my friends. My friends were astonished because they'd see me out having a good time, and then they find out that I was a straight A student, and they didn't know how I did it. Well, I made the decision that my schoolwork was the most important thing for me. And I appreciate my parents instilling this in me. Growing up, I had to do my homework first, my chores second, and then I was free to go out and play with my friends. And that habit really helped me because I kept it up when I went to law school or undergraduate and law school. And that helped me succeed and still have a life, still be able to go do things with my friends. I just had to make sure I did the work I needed to do first. And that was my decision to do that. And that carries forward today. To be a lawyer, I have to make decisions and that prioritize what's important to me. And then anything beyond that I'm free to do however I please. I read a lot. I'm on my 22nd book of the year that I'm reading. I usually average between 20 and 30 books that I read a year. So definitely that has helped me in my career, increase my knowledge, my abilities, my skills. So I strongly encourage you to read regularly. That is probably one of the best habits you can develop. Life ain't fair. I hear a lot of people whine and complain about how somebody else is treated differently or it's easier for them and woe is me. That's the breaks. Some people have it easy, and life just seems to be easy. And sometimes really bad things happen to really good people. That's really an unfortunate truth about life. But the biggest thing, and this goes back to decisions have an impact, it's not the negative thing that happens to you. In my opinion, it's how you respond to that. Because that's really the only thing that you're in control of, is how you see the world, how you interact with the world, how you respond to the world. So just remember, just because something negative happens to you, how you handle it is probably a more important lesson than anything. Prepare in advance. If you know that you have a test coming up, start preparing for it. And don't cram the night before. It makes your life easier. And in my experience, is opportunity happens to those who are prepared. If I'm not ready for something and something happens, then I may be a victim. Instead, I choose to try to be as proactive as I can and prepare in advance whatever I'm doing. One of the things that is really bad is fear can be paralyzing. You will encounter things in your life that are scary, that could cause you some problems. And one of the worst things that I've learned is that just the feeling of fear is probably the worst thing about it is it can prevent you from doing what you need to do. And so please don't let fear paralyze you from doing the things you're supposed to do, and doing those things. Say yes to opportunity. I think that both Danny, Jarrett, and I can both agree that we've, in our careers, have said yes to opportunities that have made a big difference to us in our lives and in our careers. You never know when opportunity is going to knock, and so you've got to be prepared. And if you're prepared, then you can say yes. I'm embarrassed to say this, but sometimes clients ask me to do things that I haven't done before, and I'll tell them I haven't done it before, but I believe I can get it done, and I'll figure it out because I think I have the skills to do it. And so say yes to opportunity. And the only control we have is over ourselves. And that goes back to life being fair, get over it. It's the only, trying to control other people, trying to control situations, that's an illusion. You controlling your decisions, the way you act, the way you carry yourself, the decisions you make, the choices you make, the friends that you have, those things are what you're in control of. You're not in control of brother, sister, or friend, or whatever, but how you handle it. And when you learn that control and that power, it's the most powerful thing you can have over your life, in my opinion. And finally is go easy on yourself. Let yourself make mistakes. Some people are perfectionists, and it drives them crazy when there's mistakes. But if you're too hard on yourself, it's too easy in this world with social media, and you see how perfect everybody else's lives seem and how perfect they look or whatever. It's an illusion. It's not real. And don't beat yourself up if your life doesn't seem to be like their life, because they are trying to put on a show, in my opinion, for others to see of what they want them to see, but not who they really are. And it's okay if you make mistakes. That's life. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes and grow as a person. So those are some of my lessons I've learned and keys to my success. Next. So, and there's my wife and I. We spent Christmas in New York City about 2-3 years ago, and we're there. That's us in Times Square on Christmas Eve. It was a lot of fun. But any questions? I'd love to answer any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you so much, Tom. We're going to open it up. Everett, I saw you had your hand up a while ago. Do you still have your question in mind? No? Okay. All right. We'll start with question number 1. What has been your biggest influence?
My biggest influence would have to be my parents. My dad being a lawyer had a big influence on me wanting to become a lawyer. Like I said about the chores, about the fact that you had to do your homework first and do chores first before you could go out and play. That's had a big impact on my life. And they're very fair people. They're very I don't know, they're very loving mom and dad. I was very lucky to have the parents I've had. So that's been the biggest influence.
Thank you. Now it is open to anybody else, but I have some questions that the students put into the registration form. So I'll keep going through those, but feel free to type your question into the chat box, or we can take a second right now. And if you'd like to ask a question, feel free to unmute.
I see that there is a question by Charmaine. I think it's Charmaine. Why did you decide to become a lawyer? That's a good question. I decided in 10th grade that I wanted to become a lawyer. I saw my dad. I really looked up to my dad and respected him. I saw that he was able to provide a comfortable life for his family, provided opportunities to me to be able to do other things that some of my friends weren't able to do. I saw that he was really well respected in the community. And I thought he was really smart. And I thought those were all things that seemed pretty cool to me. So, and I knew I wasn't going to be a professional football player. So I chose this option, and I'm glad I did.
Excellent. So question number 2 from the registration: what strategic partners do you have, and what is the best way to become a strategic partner with attorneys, accountants, or bankers, for example?
What strategic partner? Well, some of the strategic partners I have are other lawyers that do areas of practice that I don't do that can help me in my practice. For example, Mr. Jarrett, being an employment law specialist, we've had situations where clients, like earlier this year, we had a client that wanted to hire some Argentinian independent contractors under Argentinian law. I don't know anything about that, but his firm had that specialty and was able to do that. So we hired his firm to get that done. So having other lawyers that do specific areas, bankers, getting to know bankers has been very good. I have a lot of clients that are growing their businesses have banking needs, and so being able to talk to them. Good CPAs that are able to advise clients on their taxes and business structure is very helpful. So those are some key strategic partners for me as a business lawyer. I've also had some key strategic partners in mentors. I've had some great mentors in my development as a lawyer beyond my father that have always been there for me when I could just pick up the phone and ask a question. And that's been very helpful because I don't know everything. I've not encountered everything. Not everything makes sense to me. But fortunately, I have some very smart and wise people in my life that I'm able to call upon and ask them for their wisdom, and they're always happy to give that to me.
Excellent. Question from the chat box: how did you stay motivated throughout your academic career?
That's a good question. Part of it is by rewarding myself. If I stayed on track and made sure. So I used to do a lot of backpacking and skiing and hiking and things like that. And so I would tell myself, okay, if I get this GPA at the end of the semester, I'm going to reward myself by going on a, trip over here and doing this, or, whatever it is. But by not allowing myself to go have fun until I finish my work, that fun became a reward for finishing the work. So that's how I was able to kind of stay on track, was I just trained myself. It's not my time until I've finished the job, until I finish what I have to do, until I finish the paper, until I finish the research, till I finish the test, whatever, preparing for the test. But after that, then I could go do whatever I wanted, and I had no guilt or anything. So it was a lot of fun.
That's great advice. Next question. How do you feel when you are being a lawyer?
Oh, I love it. I have so much fun. I can't wait to get to work on Monday. Like I said, I get to work. I have great staff. I have great clients. I started this practice, and that's nice about starting your own business, is I had 3 rules when I started this practice. One is I'm only going to do the kind of work I want to do. I'm only going to take on clients that I want to work with, and I'm only going to hire employees that I enjoy being around. As long as I follow those rules, man, this is more like Disneyland than it is a place of work. It's a blast. I really enjoy it. And we do a lot of laughing and joking around here. So, if you can find the right situation as a lawyer, for me, I get a lot of joy from what I do. It's a lot of fun.
That's great. We want to be thoughtful of everyone's time, so I'll wrap up with the 2 questions that are in the chat box, and then we'll close up our presentation for today. So we have one of the questions is, what is your best lawyer story? Something that helped you make a change in the community for the better or completely surprised you?
I had a client when I was first a lawyer, and this was actually not as a business lawyer, but when I first became a lawyer, I had a little old lady whose daughters brought her to me to actually divorce their dad. It's kind of sad. They've been married 50 years, but dad was a very abusive man to mom, and she was just this little shrinking flower of a lady in her 70s, but she was so nice. I helped her get a divorce, which is not great, but for her, ended up being a great thing. She went back to college. She became a what do you call it, on the radio, a radio jockey, had her own show at the community college. She started traveling the world with her daughters and her friends. And whenever she would come back from these vacations, she'd make an appointment in my office and bring me cookies and milk with some photographs and stuff. Barbara was the best client I've ever had. And really, she lived about 15 more years after the divorce, and she often told me those were the best years of her life, because she then had the freedom to be who she was and develop as a person. And that was really a great thing.
Wow. One of the students from Shemaine's class wants to know how long it took you to become a lawyer.
It took me 7 years, 4 years of undergraduate, and then 3 years of law school. Years later, I went back to law school and got my advanced legal degree in LLM, in advanced business transactions. So all told, I've had 9 years of college.
Wow. Well, thank you so much to everyone on the call, and thank you so much, Tom. We're going to wrap up today's program. So students, thank you so much for joining us today. But before we log off, just a couple of announcements. Just a reminder to teachers, parents, community members that are on the call. If you know of any students that would love to attend these events, please feel free to share the link to register. We'll have one more presentation before the holiday break, and we'll talk about that in a second. But following this presentation, every student that is on the call will get an opportunity to win a Dion's gift card. If you complete our post-program mindset survey, you'll be entered into a drawing for a chance to win the gift card. A huge thank you to Dion's, who's graciously partnered with Junior Achievement to provide gift cards to our lucky survey responders. Teachers, make sure that if you have students on the call behind you, or if parents have students with you, make sure that you send the link to them that you'll be getting sometime later today. And then I'll send you an email if you are the winner. Lastly, keep an eye out for next week's registration. Next week is our last career speaker series of the fall semester, and we will be closing out with Rachel Moore. She is the curator of exhibitions for the Indian Pueblo Culture Center. And then that'll be our last one until we start back up on January 20th with Mike Silva from Rude Boy Cookies. So thank you so much, Tom, and thank you to everyone who's been on the call, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Thank you.